Have you ever walked into a workplace or a team and just felt something different, a certain energy, a unity, a sense that these people aren't just working together, they believe in something together? And then you've seen the opposite, teams where people are just there, clocking in, doing the job, clocking out, no real connection, no real commitment. What makes the difference? Why do some teams inspire action and loyalty while others struggle to get people to care? It's not luck, it's not magic. It's something we can create if we understand what truly makes people rally together. Let's talk about it. A great team isn't built on talent alone, it's built on trust. Without trust, everything else falls apart. Trust is what allows people to take risks, admit mistakes, and ask for help without fear of judgment. It's what transforms a group of individuals into a team. Without it, people spend more time protecting themselves than contributing to something bigger. They hesitate, they hold back, they stay silent when they should speak up. Think about it. Have you ever been in a room where you didn't feel safe to share your ideas? Where you second-guessed every word before saying it? Where you watched mistakes happen but didn't say anything because you weren't sure how it would be received? That's what happens when trust is missing. People operate out of self-preservation, not collaboration. But in a team where trust exists, the opposite happens. People don't just do their jobs, they own their roles. They show up with confidence, they share ideas freely, knowing that even if their suggestion isn't perfect, it will be heard. They challenge each other, not out of ego, but because they want to make things better. When trust exists, people aren't afraid of looking bad, they're only focused on doing good. Trust isn't just about believing someone will do their job. It's about believing that your team has your back, that you can rely on them, not just for the work, but for support, encouragement, and honesty. It's about knowing that if you drop the ball, someone will help you pick it up instead of blaming you for letting it fall. And here's the thing, trust isn't given, it's earned. It's built over time through consistency, honesty, and vulnerability. Leaders can't demand it, teammates can't force it. It has to be demonstrated over and over again. One of the most powerful ways to build trust is through vulnerability. When leaders admit they don't have all the answers, it invites others to contribute. When a teammate owns up to a mistake instead of covering it up, it creates a culture where learning is valued over perfection. The strongest teams aren't the ones where everyone pretends to be perfect. They're the ones where people are honest enough to admit when they need help. Trust also comes from consistency. If people say one thing and do another, trust erodes. If leadership makes promises but never follows through, trust weakens. If teammates criticize each other behind closed doors but act friendly face to face, trust disappears. Trust is built in the smallest moments, when actions align with words, when people show up for each other, and when integrity is prioritized over convenience. But perhaps the most important element of trust is safety. People will only trust if they feel safe. Safe to speak, safe to contribute, safe to be themselves without fear of judgment or retribution. In an environment where trust is missing, people hesitate before they act. They weigh their words carefully, not out of thoughtfulness, but out of fear. In a high-trust environment, people step forward with confidence, knowing that they won't be punished for trying. And the irony of trust is that when it's strong, you hardly notice it. But the moment it's gone, everything becomes harder. Communication breaks down, collaboration suffers, energy disappears. So, how do we create trust in our teams? It starts with the small things. Keeping promises, even when they're inconvenient. Listening without interrupting.
Great.
Giving people the benefit of the doubt. Owning mistakes instead of deflecting blame. Showing vulnerability instead of pretending to be invincible. Trust isn't built through grand gestures. It's built through everyday actions. When trust is strong, teams move faster, work harder, and care more. But when it's missing, even the most talented group of people will struggle. Trust is not a luxury in a great team. It's the foundation. Every great team has something bigger than themselves to work toward. A reason to show up. A cause that makes the hard days worth it. a mission that turns a collection of individuals into something more, a team that moves as one. Without purpose, work is just work. People show up, do their tasks, and go home. There's no energy, no excitement, no real commitment. Without purpose, teams become transactional. People start asking, what do I get out of this? Instead of, how can we make this better? But when there's a shared purpose, when everyone is working towards something meaningful, everything changes. Purpose is what fuels resilience. When setbacks happen, teams with a strong purpose don't give up. They don't see obstacles as reasons to quit. They see them as challenges to overcome. Because when people believe in what they're doing, they don't just push through the hard times, they grow from them. But here's the thing. Purpose isn't just about a company mission statement. It's not about words on a wall or a slogan on a website. A true shared purpose is something people feel. It's something they connect with on an emotional level. It's the belief that what they're doing matters, that their work has an impact beyond themselves. And that impact doesn't have to be world-changing, it just has to be real. A team of nurses saving lives in an emergency room has an obvious sense of purpose. But so does a team of designers crafting products that make people's lives easier. So does a team of teachers shaping the minds of the next generation. So does a team of engineers creating technology that connects the world. The purpose doesn't have to be grand, it just has to be meaningful to the people doing the work. When a team has a shared purpose, they don't just work together, they fight for something together. They hold each other accountable, not because they have to, but because they care. They challenge each other, not out of competition, but because they want to see the best ideas win. They lift each other up, knowing that when one person succeeds, the whole team moves forward. But purpose isn't something that can be forced. It has to be discovered, it has to be lived, it has to be woven into the fabric of how a team operates. Leaders can't just declare, this is our purpose, and expect people to buy in. People have to see it in action. They have to feel it in the way decisions are made, in the way challenges are faced, in the way success is measured. That's why purpose isn't just about what a team does. It's about why they do it. When people understand the deeper reason behind their work, their motivation shifts. They stop thinking in terms of tasks and start thinking in terms of impact. A team that believes in a shared purpose doesn't wait to be told what to do. They take initiative. They find ways to contribute beyond their job descriptions. They take ownership because they see themselves as part of something bigger. And when a team is united by purpose, something powerful happens. Individual egos fade and collective progress takes center stage. People stop competing with each other and start competing for the mission. It's no longer about who gets credit, but about whether the team moves forward. It's no longer about personal gain, but about shared achievement. A strong purpose creates loyalty because people don't leave when they feel like they're part of something meaningful. They don't walk away when they believe in the work they're doing. They stay, they commit, and they inspire others to do the same. But purpose isn't just set once and forgotten. It has to be reinforced over and over again. In the way a leader communicates, in the way a team celebrates progress, in the way challenges are framed, not as obstacles, but as part of the journey towards something greater. When a team has a shared purpose, people don't just come to work, they come to belong, they come to contribute, they come to be part of something that matters. A great team is not just measured by its results. It's measured by how people feel when they show up every day. The strongest teams don't just focus on performance, they focus on the people behind the performance. And one of the most critical ingredients for a high-performing team is psychological safety. Psychological safety is the belief that you can speak up without fear, that you can express ideas, admit mistakes, ask questions, and take risks without worrying about embarrassment, punishment, or judgment. It's what allows creativity to thrive. It's what gives people the confidence to contribute without hesitation. And it's what separates a culture of silence from a culture of growth. Think about the last time you had an idea but kept it to yourself. Why? Were you afraid of being judged? Afraid of looking foolish? Afraid that your idea wasn't good enough? That hesitation doesn't come from a lack of intelligence or creativity. It comes from a lack of safety. Like, you're not safe to say certain things. They're not safe to say certain things. And now, imagine a different scenario. Imagine being part of a team where you know, without a doubt, that your voice matters, that if you speak up, you'll be heard, that if you fail, you'll be supported, that if you share an idea, it will be considered, not dismissed. In that kind of environment, people don't hold back. They lean in, they innovate, they push boundaries, they feel free to be their best selves. But psychological safety doesn't just happen, it has to be created. It has to be built intentionally, brick by brick, through trust, respect, and consistent action. It starts with leadership. Leaders set the tone for whether a team feels safe or fearful, open or guarded, engaged or disengaged. A leader who punishes mistakes creates a culture of secrecy. A leader who criticizes ideas creates a culture of hesitation. A leader who shuts people down creates a culture of silence. And when people feel like they have to protect themselves, they stop contributing their best work. They stop carrying chances. They stop caring. But a leader who listens, truly listens, creates a culture where people feel valued. A leader who admits when they're wrong creates a culture where learning is encouraged. A leader who asks for input, who makes people feel seen, who celebrates effort as much as success, creates a culture where people feel safe to give their all. Psychological safety is not about being nice or avoiding difficult conversations. It's about creating an environment where truth is valued over comfort, where people can challenge ideas without challenging each other, where tough feedback is given with care and received with openness. It's not about avoiding conflict. It's about ensuring that conflict is productive rather than destructive. And the impact of psychological safety goes far beyond just individual confidence. It transforms entire teams. In a psychologically safe environment, people take more initiative. They don't wait for permission to fix problems. They solve them. They don't avoid tough conversations. They lean into them with trust. They don't compete against each other. They collaborate to find the best ideas. Because when people feel safe, they stop focusing on self-preservation and start focusing on contribution. Mistakes in a psychologically safe team are not seen as failures, they are seen as opportunities to grow. Instead of covering up errors, people share what they've learned. Instead of pretending to have all the answers, people ask better questions. Instead of fearing judgment, people seek feedback, knowing that it will help them improve. And here's the most important part. Psychological safety is not just about the leader, it's about the team as a whole. Every person plays a role in creating or destroying safety. A dismissive comment, a sarcastic remark, a moment of condescension. These small actions can make people hesitate before speaking up, but encouragement, acknowledgement, and genuine curiosity can do the opposite. They can make people feel valued, included, and inspired to contribute. When psychological safety is missing, people protect themselves. They do only what's required. They avoid risks. They stay silent even when they know something could be better. But when it's present, people feel empowered. They speak with confidence. They engage fully. They take ownership of their work and each other's success. And that changes everything. The best teams don't ask, "What's in it for me?" They ask, "How can I help you?" The strongest teams aren't built on competition. They're built on service. Service to each other, service to the mission, service to something bigger than individual gain. When we think about leadership, we often think about authority, decision-making, and power. But true leadership is not about being in charge. It's about taking care of those in our charge. It's about service. And the same is true for great teams. The most successful teams are not those with the most talent, the biggest budgets, or the smartest strategies. They are the teams that take care of each other. Service is what creates loyalty, it's what builds trust, it's what turns a group of individuals into a family. When people know that their teammates have their back, They don't just work harder, they work with heart. They don't just do their jobs, they go above and beyond. Because when you feel cared for, you care more. But service isn't just about being nice, it's about action. It's about looking around and asking who needs support, who needs encouragement, who needs help getting through today. It's about stepping in, not because you're told to, but because you want to. Because you understand that when one person struggles, the whole team is affected. And service is contagious. When one person steps up to help, others follow. When one person makes it clear that they are there for their teammates, it creates a culture where people feel safe leaning on each other. And in that kind of environment, nobody feels alone. Nobody feels like they have to carry the weight by themselves. That's how great teams thrive, by serving each other over and over again. Service also means looking beyond our own responsibilities. In an ordinary team, people focus on their roles, their tasks, their individual goals. They stick to what they were hired to do. But in an extraordinary team, people don't just do their job, they help others do theirs. They fill in gaps. They notice when someone is struggling and step in. They share knowledge, offer guidance, and mentor those around them. This mindset of service creates a shift. Instead of me, it becomes we. Instead of focusing on personal success, the focus becomes collective success. And when teams operate this way, something incredible happens. They don't just win together, they grow together. Because to service isn't always grand gestures. It's in the small, everyday moments that make people feel valued. It's staying late to help a teammate finish a project. It's noticing when someone is overwhelmed and asking how you can lighten their load. It's speaking up for someone when their voice isn't being heard. It's celebrating the victories of others even when there's nothing in it for you. And service doesn't just impact the people inside the team. It extends outward. When teams operate with a service mindset, it transforms how they interact with customers, clients, and the world. It creates organizations where people aren't just trying to make a sale, but trying to make a difference. Where success isn't just measured in numbers, but in impact. But here's the catch. Service is not always easy. It requires effort. It requires putting ego aside. It requires looking beyond your own needs and seeing the bigger picture. It requires a willingness to give without expecting anything in return. And that's why so few teams truly embrace it. In environments driven by individualism, service can feel counterintuitive. We are often taught to prioritize personal achievement, to climb the ladder, to look out for ourselves. But the irony is this: when we serve others, we elevate ourselves. When we lift others up, we all rise together. And when a team fully embraces the power of service, something extraordinary happens. Work stops feeling like a burden. It becomes a place where people feel connected, where people feel valued, where people feel like they belong. Because when we serve each other, we don't just create better teams, we create better people. In many teams, success is measured by results, hitting targets, meeting deadlines, achieving milestones. And while results matter, they are not the full story. The most successful teams don't just celebrate the finish line. They celebrate every step of the journey. Because progress, no matter how small, is what fuels motivation, builds momentum, and keeps people engaged for the long run. Think about a mountain climber. If they only focus on reaching the summit, they might feel overwhelmed by how far they have to go. But if they pause to recognize how much ground they've already covered, they gain the confidence to keep moving. Teams work the same way. When progress is acknowledged, people feel a sense of achievement, even if they're not at the final goal yet. The problem is, many teams only celebrate when the big goal is achieved. They wait until the project is finished, the numbers are hit, the deal is closed. But what happens in between? What happens during the long stretches when progress is being made, but the final result isn't here yet? If teams only celebrate the outcome, they risk losing momentum. People start to feel like their hard work isn't noticed. They start wondering if their effort is even making a difference. And over time, that leads to burnout, frustration, and disengagement. But when progress is celebrated, it does something powerful. It reinforces effort, not just success. It reminds people that every step forward matters, that their work is being seen, that even the small wins contribute to something bigger. And when people feel like their progress is valued, they push harder, not because they have to, but because they want to. Celebrating progress doesn't mean lowering the bar. It doesn't mean settling for less. It means recognizing that success is not a single event, it's a series of continuous improvements. It means shifting the focus from, are we there yet, to look how far we've come. And here's the key. Progress doesn't have to be huge to be celebrated. It can be learning a new skill, solving a difficult problem, overcoming a challenge, supporting a teammate, making an improvement. No matter how small, these moments might not show up in final reports, but they are the building blocks of success. Acknowledging progress also strengthens resilience. When setbacks happen, and they always do, teams that celebrate progress are less likely to be discouraged because they don't see failure as a stopping point. They see it as part of the journey. They understand that even when things don't go as planned, they are still moving forward. And this mindset changes everything. It transforms how people approach challenges. It shifts the culture from one of pressure to one of encouragement. Instead of fearing mistakes, people embrace learning. Instead of waiting for praise only at the end, they find motivation in the process itself. But for progress to be celebrated, it has to be noticed. That's where leadership plays a critical role. Leaders who take the time to recognize and appreciate progress create an environment where people feel valued. A simple acknowledgement, I see how much effort you're putting in, or that was a big step forward, can make all the difference. And it's not just leaders. Teammates can celebrate each other's progress too. A word of encouragement, a small recognition, a shared moment of appreciation. These small actions create a culture where people feel supported. And when people feel supported, they give their best. Celebrating progress also builds a sense of momentum. When teams see that their efforts are making an impact, they gain the confidence to keep going. Progress, no matter how small, fuels motivation. It creates energy. It turns challenges into opportunities instead of obstacles. And perhaps most importantly, it makes the journey itself more fulfilling. Because the truth is, the best teams don't just work toward a goal. They enjoy the process. They find meaning in the effort. They celebrate the growth, the learning, and the small victories along the way. And when a team learns to celebrate progress, they don't just achieve great things, they enjoy the experience of achieving them together. Most people approach work, success, and competition as if they're playing a game with a clear beginning, middle, and end. Win or lose, pass or fail, success or failure. But the truth is, the best teams don't see their work as a finite game. They don't measure success in terms of short-term wins or immediate results. They embrace an infinite mindset, a way of thinking that prioritizes long-term impact over temporary victories. An infinite mindset means understanding that the game never truly ends, that success is not just about reaching a goal, but about continuous growth, that competition isn't about beating someone else, it's about constantly improving, evolving, and pushing boundaries. The problem with a finite mindset is that it focuses too much on short-term results. An infinite mindset shifts the focus from winning to lasting. It's not about being the best right now, it's about getting better every day. It's not about outperforming competitors in the short term, it's about building something that endures, something that continues to grow, adapt, and thrive over time. Great teams understand this. They don't measure their success solely by hitting targets. They measure it by the strength of their culture, the depth of their relationships, and their ability to adapt to change. Because they know that numbers will fluctuate, Markets will shift and challenges will arise. But a strong team with an infinite mindset will always find a way forward. An infinite mindset also changes how teams view failure. In a finite game, failure is seen as an endpoint, a reason to stop, to quit, to give up. But in an infinite game, failure is just another step in the journey. It's an opportunity to learn, to adjust, to come back stronger. Instead of avoiding mistakes, teams with an infinite mindset embrace them as part of growth. This mindset also changes the way teams approach competition. In a finite mindset, competitors are seen as threats. Companies try to outdo each other, teams try to beat each other, individuals try to get ahead at the expense of others. But in an infinite mindset, competition is not about winning. It's about pushing everyone to be better. It's about learning from others, improving alongside them, and contributing to a larger mission that goes beyond individual success. The infinite mindset also builds resilience. Teams that think long-term don't get discouraged by setbacks. They don't panic when things don't go as planned because they know that progress is not always linear. They understand that real success comes from consistency, persistence, and the ability to keep going even when things get tough. But an infinite mindset isn't just about thinking big. It's about acting accordingly. It means making decisions today that will benefit the team, the organization, and the mission for years to come. It means prioritizing trust over short-term gains, investing in people over immediate profits, and focusing on building something that will last beyond any one individual's success. And this is why the strongest teams are not the ones that chase quick wins. They are the ones that build a foundation so strong that no single loss can shake them. They are the teams that look beyond the scoreboard, beyond the numbers, beyond the immediate rewards, and focus on something far greater, something that will last. Great teams don't happen by accident. They are built deliberately, intentionally, and with purpose. They are not defined by talent alone, but by the depth of trust, the clarity of their shared purpose, and the strength of their commitment to one another. The best teams create environments where people feel safe to speak, to take risks, to fail, and to grow. They embrace service as a guiding principle, understanding that true success is not measured by individual achievements, but by the impact they have on those around them. They don't just chase results. They celebrate progress, knowing that every small step forward fuels momentum and strengthens resilience. And most importantly, great teams play the infinite game. They don't measure success by short-term wins or immediate gains. They focus on longevity, sustainability, and the kind of impact that outlives any single project, quarter, or competition. Because in the end, the teams that inspire the most action and loyalty are the ones that understand this simple truth. Success is not about reaching a destination. It's about committing to the journey. It's about showing up for each other and for the mission day after day. It's about building something that lasts, something that matters, something greater than any one individual. That is what makes a team truly great.